Hi, welcome to Unique Parenting. I am B. Moise, and today we're going to have a conversation about masking and neurodivergent masking. What is it? What does it look like? And a lot of the information that I read about masking usually is incredibly traumatic and negative and bad, which it is. I mean, it's a form of, trying to, not a form, you're trying to hide who you are so that you could fit in. But I think most people, if they do not know a lot about neurodivergent people and individual and what it is to mask, they may assume that this is only something that's done in settings such as school or work or other types of environment. But in reality, it could be something that is happening at home. So because I always talk about children, of course, and this is about unique parenting, I want to talk about how masking can look at home. For me, I did not recognize that, as someone who is neurodivergent and who, is ADHD, I did not recognize that a lot of my coping mechanisms and a lot of the things that I did as a child and also now as an adult is a form of masking and was a form of masking for me at that time. I just thought it was who I am and what I like. And so, as an adult now, it's kind of difficult for me to understand where my masking ends and my true personality begins. I mean, I know most of the times for me, it's basically when I'm overwhelmed and I put way too much on my plate because I have an A-type personality and I just can't do anything. Like when I feel like I'm done, I recognize that I overwhelm myself. Like I've done too much. So now I need to take a break. And a lot of my coping mechanisms from childhood was to overdo because I knew there'd be a period of time I couldn't do. So I overdid. So when I couldn't do, it was fine. Because I have the perfectionist personality and I always want things done perfectly and all these different things. So I think for me, I have a hard time distinguishing, is this masking or is this me? And I think a lot of individuals who are neurodivergent, who discover this later on in life, are, we can go back and go, oh, this was masking. This is not a genuine personality, and you were just trying to fit in. So that's what masking is. It's basically a form of camouflage and doing your best to fit in into the environment so that you're not made fun of and you're not odd or people don't look at you differently. But that's in an environment where there's social pressures and social norms can affect who you are. What about at home? So most of the times when I talk to parents and they're like, my child used to do this and now they're not doing it anymore. My child used to do this and now they're not doing that anymore. Sometimes it's because they've removed the mask and they can no longer perform. Children can mask at home because who they are if they feel like they're not accepted. And as a parent, you're judging them to neurotypical standards. They may feel like they need to put on a show and a character in order for them to feel acceptance and sometimes just to feel comfortable in the setting that they're in. So sometimes it's not really the outside environment. Sometimes it is a home environment that is causing a child to mask in a particular way just so that they could fit in. I've always been a weird child, and I like weird interests and things like that. And there were certain parts of me when I was younger that no one saw, but I was able to sing at the top of my lungs in my room or, do whatever it is that, I needed to do. But my family didn't get to see that part of me. And I think now that I'm older, a lot of the times it's like, I didn't know you were like this. And I've always been like this. It was just a matter of I didn't feel comfortable showing this person to you, and I didn't feel comfortable showing this part to you. And I recognize it the same with my kids where, certain aspects of who they are, because they're both neurodivergent children, they're comfortable with showing me all their quirks and kinks and all these different things. And when we have conversations about, who are you and how free can you be? And specifically my daughter will share more, well, I don't like showing you this because it's weird. And it's so funny because I've never used that language. We don't think people are weird or things are weird, we think weird is normal. So for us, it's just still this external, internal pressure to behave and act in a particular way that may not necessarily be a vocal conversation that you're all having or saying, but the child may pick up on from, the outside society and from their internal environment and act according. So really, masking is something that I've dealt with my whole life. I see my kids trying to navigate that world. And, the goal is for anyone to be their authentic self. And whatever that self is, we want them to be that. And when your child is masking, they're not really being who they are and how they are and who they're designed to be. So really full acceptance of when a child is being quirky or doing something odd or something that you may not understand, because usually those behaviors are some form of self-regulation, so if they're doing something it doesn't make sense to you, it's usually because they're trying to regulate some internal conflict that they're having, but it's manifesting itself outwardly. So really, masking cure is acceptance. Like if we really accept who people are and you accept who your child is, even if the behavior is odd and it's unacceptable, let them be. Let them be who they're supposed to be, because masking can cause, more trauma and damage and more psychological issues, because if you spend years not being who you are, at some point you just can't handle it anymore. So I wish that everyone could just be them and whatever that looks like, and just for the whole world to accept it. But, that's not the case. But for what you can do as a parent at home, really, when a child is showing you certain things they weren't showing you before, don't jump on it and say, well, you didn't used to do this before. Why are you doing it now? Is this something you picked up? They might feel a little bit more comfortable to display or show you that part of them, and now you shut it down, so now they're going to shut it down. That behavior is not going to stop. It will just stop with you. So just be mindful and remember that, and just know that always keep the line of communication open, and always accept your child for who they are, how they are, whatever it is that they're presenting, because they're learning life, you're learning life. So let's not give them additional things to learn and hurdles to jump over when they just want your acceptance to be who they are. Because more than likely, in some shape or form, they will mask in other environment. Let's, give a child the environment to not mask at home. So in the meantime, I want you all to enjoy your unique parenting journey with your unique child.